It's Seeing Red, the New York Soccer Roundup. Since 2010, your weekly source for independent New York Red Bulls news and opinion. Now, from the Joe Goldstein studio, here's your host, Mark Fishkin.
The New York Red Bulls, too, are MLS Next Pro Cup champions after one of the craziest postseason games you will ever see at Sports Illustrated Stadium. 9,000 loud and proud fans turned up for a third division final that saw the Red Bulls go down 2-0, go down 3-2 with 10 minutes left, fight back, and come out ahead in a penalty shootout. It was wild. It's Seeing Red. I'm here with these guys over here, Dan Rebane, Mike Batista. They were there. I was there. It was phenomenal. We got confetti. And for just a minute, boys, for just a minute, I kind of like squinted my eyes for just a second, said, if this was the first team, is that happening to the, like, finally? Yep, there we go. Deuce is wild. I just allowed myself to feel what that would have been like. But let's start with you, Daniel. Overall impressions on a wild, wild final.
I mean, I don't think there was any more you could have asked for from a game, in a final like this. I mean, we talked about it last week. We might have thought it would have been an easier game for the team, but, they didn't make it easy for themselves, and they had to fight all the way back. And I think it just showed their resiliency, like the type of team they are, the type of players, the type of people they are, to go down 2-0 a week before, go down 1-0, come all the way back, and they're champions. They fought all the way back, and they lifted a trophy at the end of the day.
Mike, they get a star on the crest that they had to take off when they left the USL. Now it's 9 years later, and they have another flavor, another league title. What do you think?
Man, I love the fact the email said, "Oh, a star is above our crest." It's like, it's back
again.
You even said in other emails that, like, you were USL champions. So I'm just like over here, like, fuming a little bit. But no, it's great because it's gonna be on a kit that no one can buy, but it's a really good effort because think about this. That team that won the USL champion or United Soccer League at the time, also a Division III title because 2016 was the last year USL was a D3 league.
Okay.
So think about the players who are on that team. Think about the legacy they left.
Yeah.
Players on this team, you never know what's going to happen. With North Texas SC when they won USL League One, little guy by there was a couple players on that team who I don't even need to name, who've gone on to bigger and better things. So just to think about these sort of players, these sort of events, we don't know what Adri is going to do next. We don't know what, Roald Mitchell's going to do next, but this is something that is a really good stepping stone, whether that's to the first team, to Europe, or more.
Yeah, I think, and it's not just the players that have made a statement on a big stage, but also, as we've been talking about for weeks, Michael Bradley playing the type of play that Julian de Guzman wants to see, wins, tells his team at halftime down 2-0 on two of the flukier goals that you will see at any level. And we'll go through it in a minute, but is just beaming with pride. It's a massive accomplishment. I think he rightly tipped his hat toward Iber Sagaya, but he learned a ton. And I mean, you can make the argument that the first team coaching role is his to lose after coming out and making the whole organization proud. And frankly, and look, we know the reserve team championship is not a first team title. It's not a Shield. It's not an MLS Cup. It's not even an Emirates Cup. But what it did, what this run, this 4-game playoff run did for Red Bulls 2, I think is give Red Bull fans a little bit of light in what was really kind of a crummy year. And the fact that so many turned up to Harrison on Saturday night is a testament to that, Dan.
Yeah, and you kind of brought it up but like looking back at that 2016 team, right? You had Tyler Adams, Derek Etienne, Ryan Mara. You had other guys on that team that eventually got to the first team, and that kind of they were already at the first team level winning stuff. But those type of players coming into the team the next year kind of kept that thing going, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this time around, when you look at guys like Anadri Mehmeti, Harold Mitchell, Andy Rojas, like some of these guys, like in that starting 11 from Saturday night, I think it just shows the promise of what can be, what some of these guys can bring to the next level. Obviously, it's up to them to go, prove that they are first team level players next year.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at that team and you look back probably in 5 or 10 years, you can be like, okay, so this is where all the success started, was from this team. And I'm just very excited because just looking at some of these players and their performances, like Harold Mitchell scored in every playoff game.
Yeah.
Coming off his torn ACL, his torn meniscus, he had another setback surgery in December of last year as well that set him back, and he didn't return for 14 months. So him to have this performance, he gets called up by Trinidad and Tobago as well for the senior team for the first time. It couldn't happen to a better person. So a lot of these players have earned their roles going forward, earned call-ups around for their national teams, and I'm just excited heading into next year now.
A lot of folks obviously really excited about, you mentioned Mitchell, you mentioned Mehmeti, who for me, and I know the three of us watched him grow over this 4-game playoff run where literally everything was going through him.
Mm-hmm.
As the 6 he was making finding his teammates on fantastic passes. We didn't talk about Rafa Mascara, who's the MVP of the game, with 2 goals, including the tying goal that sent the game to extra time. But for me, the unsung player of the game has to be Austin Causey, right? I mean, here's a guy who knew, and both he spoke to us after the match, but also Bradley talked about the fact that he knew that he, as the backup, was going to be the man during the playoffs with Aiden Stokes in Qatar with the U.S. 17 boys team. All he's done is post 2 clean sheets and allowed 1 goal in 3 games in the group stage of that tournament, and we'll get to that. But Causey with a fantastic save to win. He made a flying save to his left at one point to keep the Red Bulls in the game. And this is for a kid who we really don't know what his ceiling is. Like this might be his ceiling, and he's a Red Bulls 2 legend, Mike, if there's such a thing.
It's funny because looking back at his 3-game run, he's been very human in this 3-game run. Like, there have been times where I think I was openly like saying I'd watch him try and catch a pass and he would mess up. Because I remember against Chicago, he muffled that pass that allowed the goal. And then for the rest of that game, he kind of just was punching balls. Like, he wouldn't catch them. And I remember during this game, he caught a ball, and I think I jumped up going, yeah, he caught it. And it's kind of just goes to show that besides me just being a, annoying person, to put it lightly, I don't think that he's been all that great in the playoff run, but
he sure was great on Saturday.
He allowed 3 goals. But, I mean, that's the thing. He did his job enough, and the team around him did what it had to do. And I think there's definitely, place for him to grow. But he made great saves. He allowed 3 goals, but he made great saves. And guess what? In the PK shootout, the first 3 rounds, he didn't touch the ball. But guess what? He did it when he had to. Yeah. So I think that really goes to show that,
the back of his head did touch the ball on the first penalty kick.
He counts that.
Which went
MLS
head, post, and out, which I don't usually, it's not something you see every day. Dan, so let's talk about the players that we saw really kind of come together, this team. Mitchell, Mascara, Rojas, they have first team contracts. What are the real odds that these guys wind up with the team starting the 26th season?
It's interesting, right? Because you look at certain guys that were playing first team minutes on the wings this year, right? You got Cameron Harper, who went down with a major knee injury. He's obviously got to come back from that. Then you got Wiki Carmona, who's playing right wing. We all know what he is there at that.
I called up to Venezuela this week.
Good for him.
He did.
Yeah,
that is a fact.
Hey, I saw it. Hopefully, maybe that boosts his value. Mohamed Sofo is who he is, or at least in this first year. I think there's opportunities for these guys, especially if Michael Bradley eventually gets that job, if he is the guy to go forward. Because when you look at all the players and then you look at Andy Rojas and Rafael Mosquera, other than Cameron Harper, there's no guy that you look at that can take the ball and run directly at a wingback and take them on with on the dribble, right? None of those guys do that other than Cameron Harper, and Cameron's obviously coming back from his knee injury. So
Can you please stop saying obviously?
Yeah, you know that's a problem of mine. But yeah, preseason's going to be huge for these guys that are coming from the second team and trying to make a name for themselves with the first team. Obviously, God, I did it again. See, now Mike's going to mess me up with this. But Benedetti's also going to come up playing as an 8. He didn't have his best game in the final to me, but
he was important for the whole run.
But his overall season, he showed that he is a player as well. So for me, the biggest one is Adri Mehmeti. I think with a good preseason, he is your starting 6 next year at 16 years old. I just think his leadership, his moxie, his aura on the field, he just brings everything you want to see. And he's someone that when you look back at Tyler Adams when he came through the academy in the second team, you can see things in Mehmeti that you saw in Tyler Adams, except that Adri Mehmeti can make any pass that you want. He can make any pass, and we saw it in that conference final where he spread the ball out to Matthew Dos Santos on the left wing for the first goal, and then the first time pass to Rold Mitchell over the top of the defense. He can make all these passes that you want, and he can connect the defense to the midfield. So to me, that's the biggest thing to me is Adri Mehmeti looks ready for the first team, and with him and Gustav Berggren and Emil Forsberg probably in front of him, I think that's a good midfield to start the year with.
I think the question, and I want to flip to Mike for a minute. I mean, this is a kid that has a European passport, and so
I will say,
yes,
Albania is not part of the EU, so he would have to wait until 18.
Okay, all right, interesting. I did not know that. Mehmeti and Julian Hall and Aiden Stokes will train with Leipzig over the winter after the U17 tournament. I think Mehmeti's already on his way there. So to keep him fresh,
he flew right after the day after the game. So
okay,
they got him right out there.
Mike, your thoughts on Mehmeti in general?
It's wild that the first time I saw him was during a show at Montclair State against Hudson Valley Hammers, where I was just we're standing there in the snow as the Red Bull press is laughing at us from inside the press box, but it's just wild to me that what a difference a year and a half makes in that he's gone from just a note on my piece of paper going, oh yeah, it's this guy. And I'm sure Rebane that was like, oh, this kid, he's from New York. And this
he had the folder while you had the note.
He probably had the folder and like he knew where he was.
Staten Island legend.
Knew what hospital he was born in, knew his mother, this and that, yada yada. But it's wild how fast things can change. And I think that's the beauty of as many issues I have at MLS Next Pro and a lot of American soccer. There's a beauty in that where because he's part of this system, you could continue to see him do this. And with Red Bulls 2, we saw him then. I don't think he made he made a couple of appearances that season with Red Bulls 2. And that was a bad year for Red Bulls 2. I think they finished 11th in the league in the East. So to see the fact that he turned 16, they made him captain, and they didn't win the Shield, but they won the Eastern Conference regular season. They finished top of the East. To see that huge turnaround and to see him leading it forward, that's just incredible to me.
Yeah. Kids, They grow. Who knew? Before we move off the game, any other call outs in general about, I mean, this was a special night. I see, Mike. This was a special night. I mean, 9,000 it's certainly more than a third round US Open Cup tie or a February CCL match against a non-Mexican team. Like this was a crowd that was so desperate through the first half when the Red Bulls go down 2-0 to just erupt at something. And I give the crowd so much credit because they were treated to such a show in the second half. 4 goals scored in 45 minutes, Red Bulls going down, evening the match, 2 goals at a minute and a half away from each other. Then the breakdown by New York. And then we haven't talked about Nate Worth at all. I thought
I was going to bring him up.
Yeah. Why don't we go to Mike and then to you, Dan, on Nate Worth?
Yeah. A couple things I want to shout out. First off, and that is, I'm not sure how much you guys know about the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame, but they have a nice feature that all of the recognized professional leagues and the 3 divisions of NCAA soccer for both men and women, those champions every year, they have their kits displayed like in the Hall of Fame.
That's
so
great.
I think that back in 2016, like Red Bulls 2 was there. And also the Sport Shield. So Red Bull 1 has been there, the main team. So to know that Red Bulls 2 is going to have a kit at FC Dallas' stadium in the Hall of Fame for a year, I still think I really think that's special because it means that you are one of the champions of America. And I think that's just something very cool to me. And the second thing I want to shout out is me and Daniel's favorite equipment manager, Roger, someone, and this is very much, talking inside baseball, talking very personal, but the fact that Roger is someone who I've seen work in supporters groups. He's worked for FC Motown in NPSL and USL League 2. And to see this is his first year with New York Red Bulls 2, he joined midseason to be there, pretty much their intern, working as their equipment manager. To see how much he's grown and see him part of that team, I think that we literally, as the players were walking past us, we gave him the biggest pop, and all the players what are they doing? So I am very proud of him and all the work he's done, and I'm very happy that he's part of this. To go on.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a kid who grew up a fan of the team and is made his way into this organization as an intern, and hopefully more to come for him.
Hopefully more to come. And 9,000 people at Red Bull Arena. Yeah, that was one of FC Dallas, and that's probably better than that's probably the real number. When there were some games back a couple years ago where I know for a fact that that official tally was a lie, so that felt like bigger than some Red Bulls 1 games.
Oh, I don't think so, sir, Dan.
I wanted to bring up Nate Worth because this is a kid that left the club a couple of years ago originally to pursue other ventures. He went down to Tulsa originally, then got moved to Tampa Bay, and it wasn't working out for him. So he came back for a 6-month loan before his contract ran out with Tampa, and for the past couple of months he's been a locked in starter. And Saturday night, I think the first half, he'll agree with me, wasn't his best, but that second half, I mean, he really turned it on. I mean, the assist to Rolled for the second goal of the game.
Yep.
And then drawing the penalty as well to get that third goal. And then who's first up in the penalty shootout?
Yep.
It's Nate Worth. And for a kid that originally left to come back, lift the trophy, that was real special. I know he also, we talk about Matthew Dos Santos having a lot of people in attendance. Nate Worth had 50 or 60 people as well. So that was good to see. Don't know what the future is for him. He's 18 now, so I know the original plan for him back when he left was to eventually get to Europe at a point, and now he's a free agent. He could pick wherever he wants, but maybe if they see him and want to give him a homegrown, I wouldn't be mad at it, because I think I see something in him as a player. Like, there's different archetypes of midfielders, and he definitely has one that can thrive in MLS. And then another person I want to shout out who also might not be here is Curtis Afori. He's the one guy that changed the game when he came on.
Yes, he did.
Matthew Dos Santos wasn't having his best game, and here comes Curtis Afori, who's been written off for the past couple of years, and he comes on, gets that first goal started, and he was all over that left side. I mean, he was overlapping, he was bringing his defensive chops. I mean, for a guy that's 5'9", 5'10", I mean, he's really built. Like, he is a stocky guy, and he was winning a lot of battles. And I think that showed that, you know, there's a player in him, and maybe those injuries really messed him up at Red Bull. But I think wherever he goes, he's going to be successful.
Yeah, no, I hope so. I mean, listen.
What, Michael? What are you laughing at?
What are you laughing at over there?
I'm sorry. The way you said that Nate Worth brought like 50, 60 people, I was doing the math in my head. That means like close to 1% of the crowd.
Hey, Dos Santos had 120 people. So.
Oh my Lord.
That's like 1.3% of the crowd. That's so good.
That's not an indictment of those players.
No, it's not. It's just I love low crowds with it like this, where you could just say, "Oh yeah, this guy he gave out 100 tickets." That's like 1% of the people here.
All right. It was, again, for Red Bull fans who endured a very, very tough season, a real light that to really shut the door on 2025. Real quickly before we go, both Aiden Stokes and Julian Hall are with the US U17s in Qatar. Stokes has played every minute. He's allowed 1 goal in 3 games, as I mentioned, including a clean sheet over Czechia today. They next get Morocco in the round of 32. Morocco was the 3rd place team.
Well, they're the one. Well, Morocco's also the same team that knocked out the U20. So
right. So there you go. Also, Hall, I'm thinking must be hurt because he hasn't dressed for the last 2 games.
I thought I saw him this game. Isn't he number 16?
It may be my mistake. Maybe my mistake. Maybe one of you guys can check on that.
If I can make a point on Stokes, right?
Yeah.
I think I saw a big improvement this year. Just from watching him in games that I've seen in person. I think his shot stopping ability has improved. We all know about his penalty, penalty shootouts. He's just excellent in that category, and his ball playing with the ball at his feet has also improved. So I know people aren't gonna like what I say, but there is a real scenario where you're looking at preseason as Aiden Stokes and John McCarthy as the 2 goalies battling for the starting job, right?
Mm-hmm.
We saw what John McCarthy did, and maybe that was just a bad game.
Yeah.
But there's a real scenario where they're trotting out Aiden Stokes as the starting goalkeeper on the first game of the season.
That's insane.
That's a real scenario, though, because right now, right, when you look at the goalkeepers on the roster, you got Aiden Stokes signed to a contract.
Yep.
You got John McCarthy signed to a contract. AJ Marcucci's coming back from knee surgery, and 16-year-old Tobias. I always mess up his last name, but he's coming to a first-team contract this year as well. I don't know where they're getting another goalkeeper. Having 5 goalkeepers on a roster isn't really good for roster construction.
No,
especially if they're bringing in an international. They're going to use another international slot. So I'm just saying, maybe that's not what they go do, but I'm just laying it out there for people to be prepared that could happen.
I'm not good. Yeah, Mike.
Well, I was going to say, first off, before we get too far away from it, the one good thing, Dan, about Morocco is that they had a terrible run so far, and they only have 1 win, and they're like one of the best 3rd-place teams, along with like North Korea and stuff. So, hey, listen, chance for them. What I'll say is this. It's hard to even talk about offseason because we are under a new head of sport. And that head of sport already has pretty much said that he likes the second team, and he thinks that's a shining example of what we need to be. So that's a point to what Dan's saying. The other thing is we don't know how he treats free agency. because the last couple of years, free agency has really felt like picking up players from within MLS is a dirty word, unless you're Dylan Nealis or John McCarthy because you're desperate. So, like, the fact of the matter is, this offseason could be very telling if maybe they start looking around the country, finding like other pieces from within. Maybe they go to the academy more like what's been talked about. I don't think we're going to Europe as much as we did under Jokin, but we're not going to just try and we're not going to catcall like U20s guys from Poland who are then going to like leave us on red for a year and then come. At the end of the day, we'll see what happens. But I see your point. It's so hard to even understand what could happen in this offseason because there's a new guy.
Right. Totally new apparatus. Yeah.
I just want to counter that again. Just like when you look at roster construction, right? You already have 4 guys allotted there. Unless you're telling me John McCarthy gets moved, which probably won't happen because they gave him a new deal already. And when you look at it, right, when AJ comes back, he is their starter. That's who they wanted to start anyway. So hopefully he has a speedy recovery and he's closer to the beginning of the season than most people might think with the torn ACL, especially for a goalie. I'm just laying it out there for people to prepare themselves that, Chicago did it with Gaga Slonina, and we saw what Gaga Slonina was before he left MLS to go to Chelsea. Just saying it might happen where Aiden Stokes turns into something that we might not think he is this early in his career.
World champion Slovenia.
I want to close this portion of the show by saying that McCarthy's performance in a game that meant absolutely nothing on the last game of the season with a team defense in front of him that knew that it didn't really matter. And as much as we all talk about playing for pride and want to impress the coach, who then was summarily dismissed, I don't knock McCarthy too much for his performance in that game. That's what I'll say. Quickly, international call-ups. They were a ton, including your friend and mine, Viktor Bogac, who got called up to the Polish U21s. We had Dennis Yengar called up to the Norway U21s. We mentioned Roel Mitchell got called up to the TNT national team, which is very exciting.
Oh, yeah.
We had Wiki Carmona, who plays soccer, who got called up to the Venezuelan national team. I think I saw Forsberg called up to the Swedish national team.
Yep.
And of course the boys in the U17. So, in a shadow universe where the Red Bulls are actually still alive in the playoffs, these departures would have either been turned down or would have been done with a lot of fraught feelings for Red Bull fans. Again, the idea that the MLS Cup playoffs now have to stop for another 10 days as we get to the final 8 is just there's no momentum whatsoever at all. So good for the boys.
Don't forget, there's international soccer being played at Red Bull or Sports Illustrated Stadium on Tuesday.
Who's that?
New Zealand versus Ecuador.
Well, we know the Ecuadorians will turn out.
Yeah,
and
that deep-rooted New Zealand fan base in New Jersey.
Listen, Flight of the Conchords was a wonderful show, and I'm sure there are Kiwis in New York that are going to turn out. So. Nevertheless, we really, truly, folks, have come to the end of another fantastic season of Seeing Red. Our 17th, we will be back in 2026. We did a whole lot of shows this year. I want to thank these two gentlemen as well as Gustavo Guimaraes for carrying the heavy freight and bringing the insight all season long. I want to thank Zach Feldman for stats. Again, he is branching out on his own. He's got his own little Red Bull pod in Unfiltered, which you can find on different platforms. I encourage you to do that. And just, this was a season unlike any other, frankly, in podcast, Seeing Red podcast history. This is the first time the team didn't make playoffs as we've been doing Seeing Red. And again, I just want to close by saying that Joe Goldstein would have absolutely loved Saturday night. Red Bulls 2 was his passion. And I know that he really made an imprint on the media crew out at Montclair State. So Joe, wherever you are, we're thinking about you. And guys, any last words before we unplug 2025?
Go ahead, Mike.
Dan. Yeah, thank you. I'm very happy that I was able to be part of this podcast for the year. Was on one of your rotating hosts. To all the fans who came up to me while at games, including one that I remember at MLS Cup last year. That was, I am always honored, and I'm sorry you have to look at my face, but the fact is that you see my name if you listen to the audio only and you see my name on a press credential, you go, wait a minute. I really do appreciate that, so thank you, and thank you, Mark, for having me on all the time.
You betcha. Dan?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for having me on as a rotational person as well. I'm not as famous as Mike, apparently, because nobody's come up to me yet on the concourse. Other than Oda, Rold Mitchell was looking for his parents to celebrate. I went and found them, and they recognized me from my interview with him, so
awesome.
I'll take
That's
that's
nice.
a point for me. So
Great interview, by the way.
I appreciate that. So yeah, it was a great year. Not for the first team. A bunch of ups and downs with the first team, ups with the second team. So 2025 was something I'll remember for a long time, and I can't wait for 2026. We talked about it off screen, but 2026 should be fun, especially this winter. There should be a lot of news that should interest Red Bull fans.
It can only go up from here.
Yeah. No, they can win the wooden spoon next year.
No, we're not talking about that. Thank you again for watching and listening to Seeing Red in 2025. We'll be back when news breaks. We'll fix it, and in 2026 as well. For Mike and Dan and everyone at Seeing Red, thank you so very much. Thank you, veterans. Have a great night. Bye-bye.